Hi, I'm Steve Pennington. I've been with the Client Assistance Program since 1985. It was originally established in the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and its purpose is really threefold: to provide information and referral not only to the customers of VR, but to counselors and others in the community that provide services to people with disabilities. A good example of that will be calls that we get with regard to Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which deals with employment. So we like to think of ourselves as not just focusing on vocational rehabilitation, not just OVR and the independent living centers, but being able to be a resource to the community at large. And we really see ourselves as a link between the VR system and the community, and also between the community and the vocational rehabilitation, um, OVR in Pennsylvania. So we provide information referral. We also do assistance, and what that means is that we will help the customer, and in many instances the counselor as well, make sure that everything is on track, that the customer understands his or her rights and responsibilities, and that the counselor is being responsive to the individual customer's needs. And we try to do that collaboratively. For the longest time, CAP was viewed as really the big stick that was there to make sure that VR did its job, but it's never really been that. When it was created in 1973, it was really to work with the customer in VR to make sure that everybody understood what the goals were in a particular case, and to try to get the individual from the beginning of the VR process to the end. We also do advocacy. We represent people, customers in appeals, although I would say over the last 15 years, that's lessened quite a bit. Our advocacy tends to focus on identifying systemic issues. A systemic issue that we've identified that OVR is aware of and is dealing with is having customers sign blank IPEs, for example. That's something we think can be cured very easily. We also do policy stuff. You're going to be hearing from Julia Blackwell in a bit, and she's on the State Rehabilitation Council, and she and I are really working on policy issues. So our initiative right now, outside of dealing with any particular policy issue, is really to have everybody on the same wavelength with regard to what process policy should follow. We think that that's very important. In addition to that, we do a lot of outreach. You're going to be hearing from Margaret McKenna, who is been doing outreach for the last 22 years. And she's assisted, and does the outreach, of course, with Lynette Suarez, who you're going to hear from as well. We think CAP is in a good place. I think that the four of us, we cover the whole state, but I think we do, a good job, and we get a lot of positive feedback from not only the community but the VR staff as well. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. Don't hesitate to call, and it's a great opportunity for us to be able to provide this video and give you some sense of who we are and what we do. Thanks.
everyone. After 22 years as a CAP advocate, Margaret McKenna, I am very pleased to say that I have touched the lives of thousands of individuals with disabilities. As an individual with a disability myself, I feel that it's important in working with vocational rehabilitation to always be a self-advocate. I believe in self-advocacy. I think it helps in terms of job searching and in terms of working with the OER system. Collaboration, communication, and commitment to working with an individual with a disability is one of the things I hold in high regard in working with the vocational rehabilitation system as a CAP advocate.
Hi, my name is Julia Blackwell. I'm an advocate with the Client Assistance Program. What we think is most important to focus on for counselors is to have us as a resource for them to move their clients along and find competitive employment. We don't want them to think of us as opposition. We want this to be a collaboration of the Client Assistance Program, working with the counselors and the customers for them to be successful.
My name is Lynette Suarez, and I'm an advocate with the Client Assistance Program. And the reason why I came to CAP is I have a son who is learning disabled. So I have a firsthand experience going through the VR process. And my goal is I would like to empower people with disabilities to be able to speak on their own and to choose their own vocational goal, and to let them know that they are able and have choice and they are able to choose their vocational goal. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to fight for what they want and to achieve their vocational goal and make their dream come true.
Brought to you by the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. Contact OVR at 800-442-6351 or ovrfeedback@pa.gov. Learn more about OVR at www.dli.pa.gov/OVR and connect with OVR on Facebook at PA Voc Rehab, Twitter at PA_OVR and LinkedIn at PA OVR.